Hours before the Supreme Court considers whether it needs to re-examine the constitutional validity of sedition law, the centre on Monday told the court that the provisions of law section 124A will be re-examined and reconsidered. Here is more.
A big U-turn by Modi government. After firmly defending the country's colonial sedition law in the Supreme Court, on Monday, the central government filed a 3-page affidavit in court and said it has decided to re-examine and reconsider the sedition law. The decision came from the top. Affidavit asserted that Prime Minister Modi was cognizant of various views on sedition and in favor of defending civil liberties. The affidavit stated that Prime Minister was keen on shedding colonial baggage and the centre has scrubbed over 1,500 outdated laws since 2014. The government urged the top court to wait for the review by a competent forum and asked to not consider the petitions challenging the sedition law.
Sovereignty, integrity of India is absolutely important for the government and for everyone. So while revisiting reconsideration of the sedition law, it will be ensured that all these provisions are taken well care of.
The opposition seems divided over the issue.
ये एक अच्छी बात है, प्रोग्रेसिव है और सारे देश को इसका समर्थन करना चाहिए. मैं इसका समर्थन करता हूं.
Modi government used the sedition law only to suppress fundamental rights of expression of opinion, curbing dissent against the BJP, suppressing voices against the RSS, subjugating opinion against the Modi government.
Concerned by the widespread misuse of the sedition law, the Supreme Court in July last year had asked the central government if sedition law is still required, which was used by the Britishers to silence Mahatma Gandhi. People booked under sedition law can be arrested without a warrant, and it's a non-bailable offence, punishable with imprisonment from 3 years up to life along with a fine. Sedition law is being seen as a tool to suppress free speech and free expression, and all of which are not so compatible with the government. Lately, the Rana couple and a Gujarat MLA were slapped with the sedition law. Is it time to scrap the British-era draconian sedition law? Bureau Report, India Today.
After high-voltage drama in Shaheen Bagh, bulldozers to roll once again in the national capital. SDMC team will likely reach Delhi's New Friends Colony by 11 a.m. for demolition today. Meanwhile, CPIM is likely to knock Delhi High Court door today after Supreme Court refused to entertain their plea against the demolition of buildings in South Delhi. Remember, the demolition drive in Shaheen Bagh began early on Monday. Locals hit the streets in anger, raising slogans against the BJP-ruled SDMC, while others climbed in the bulldozers. Amidst the showdown, a major face-off between Aam Aadmi Party and BJP is also in full swing. After New Friends Colony, the next location is likely to be Meherchand Market, Lodhi Colony and areas near JLN Metro Station.
तो आज इस अतिक्रमण के खिलाफ कार्रवाई जो बांग्लादेशी रोहिंग्या और गैर कानूनी रूप से इस दिल्ली के अंदर आतंक फैलाने का काम करने वाले, अगर उनके ऊपर एक कार्रवाई चली है और उसके सामने जो लोग बुलडोजर के आगे लेटे हैं उनको जनता लेटाने वाली है।
जिस तरह से सद्भाव को बिगाड़ने की कोशिश की जा रही है, नफरत की राजनीति पैदा करने की कोशिश की जा रही है, ये बुलडोजर एमसीडी का बुलडोजर नहीं था, ये बुलडोजर था आदेश गुप्ता का बुलडोजर, भाजपा का बुलडोजर, और उसका विरोध करने आए।
High voltage drama played out in Delhi's Shaheen Bagh on Monday when bulldozers rolled in, from large crowds to ruckus to netas turning into the locality. We break down hour by hour what exactly happened at Shaheen Bagh. Take a look.
The demolition drive in Shaheen Bagh began early on Monday. At 10 a.m., additional police and CRPF were deployed to keep troublemongers at bay. At 11 a.m., bulldozers started rolling in for the first escalation.
शाहीन बाग में आम लोग सड़कों पर निकले हैं, दुकानों में जहां पर जो मौजूद है हर कोई विरोध में आकर खड़ा हुआ दिखाई दे रहा है, लेकिन इन सब के बीच एमसीडी का ये बुलडोजर आगे बढ़ता हुआ आप देख रहे हैं। इस वक्त विरोध जबरदस्त है और उसकी कहानी आपने देखी कि कैसे बुलडोजर के भी सामने इस तरह से लोगों का गुस्सा दिख रहा था। अब आपको जल्दी से दिखा देते हैं, ये जो महिलाएं थी जिन्होंने अपोज किया था, जो इसके विरोध में थी, उन्हें लेकर दिल्ली पुलिस गाड़ी में जा रही है।
At 11:30 a.m., the drive started amid opposition by locals. Many staged sit-down protests, while others climbed onto the bulldozers.
आप बताइए क्या बोलिएगा, यहाँ बुलडोजर
कि हिंदुस्तान में मुस्लिम वर्ग जो है वो सेकंड लार्जेस्ट पॉपुलेशन है, हम किसी भी तरीके से डरेंगे नहीं।
The drive was stalled till noon when AAP MLA Amanatullah Khan arrived and met locals. At 12:10, amid sloganeering, the MCD officials noted illegal construction and resumed the demolition drive.
Take a look at that. Ashok, show to our viewers of how finally the bulldozer is starting to demolish the first structure. This is under, of course, the orders and the plan of the MCD. Now, according to the MCD, this had been in the plan. It is not immediate. It is not a coincidence. The anti-encroachment drive was being planned for the past few days. But because of looking at law and order situation and whether they had enough deployment as well, they were not yet sure. But right now, they have decided to go ahead with it.
At 1:30 p.m., the MCD bulldozer moved on to other areas without demolishing any big buildings. By 2:30, in a major blow to Netas opposing demolition drive, the Supreme Court refused to interfere with the Shaheen Bagh drive.
Now claiming that they won.
With AAP and BJP ensued in a massive face-off over demolition drives in Delhi, this doesn't seem like an end to the whole episode. With Pooja Shali in Shaheen Bagh, Bureau Report, India Today.
The showdown over survey of Kashi's Gyanvapi Mosque is far from over. After the survey was blocked by the protesters for 2 days, the court will hear the matter and decide on the next survey date. Asaduddin Owaisi condemned Varanasi court's order on surveying Gyanvapi Shringar Gauri complex and alleged that the court was opening way for anti-Muslim violence. The issue is over the mosque adjacent to Kashi Vishwanath temple. The Hindu site has claimed that the mosque was built by Mughal Aurangzeb after destroying a temple. The petitioner seeks the restoration of the temple at the mosque site. The court has ordered an ASI survey for fact-finding into the matter. It is raining petitions in Uttar Pradesh over history after chorus for survey of Gyanvapi Mosque. Petition has been filed to conduct a survey of Taj Mahal as well. Petitions say that it was built after demolishing a Shiva temple. Here's more.
It's raining petitions in Uttar Pradesh to dig into history, to survey mosques and mausoleums, to uncover if they were built over temples and on Hindu deities. After the Ayodhya dispute settled, a dispute that dragged for decades, occupied the center stage of religious politics in India. The legal spotlight now is on the Gyanvapi Mosque, Varanasi. Petitions by 5 women asking to be allowed to pray at a Hindu shrine behind Varanasi's Gyanvapi Mosque complex is building up into a flashpoint in Uttar Pradesh. The women want unrestricted year-long access to Ma Shringar Gauri site located at the back of the mosque's western wall. The site is currently opened once a year for rituals. On the basis of the petitions, a survey was ordered by a local court. The survey has not been fully completed because of a dispute over videography inside the mosque. The caretaker committee of the Gyanvapi mosque and its lawyers have said they are opposed to any videography inside the mosque, but the lawyers for the petitioners have claimed they had the courts go ahead. A new date for the survey will now be announced by the court on Tuesday. However, another controversy brews. Adding fuel to the already heated socio-political situation in India, a plea has now been filed by BJP media in charge of Ayodhya district, Dr. Rajneesh Singh, in the Lucknow bench of the Allahabad High Court, to carry out a survey inside Agra's iconic Taj Mahal. The petitioner has asked the court to give directions to the Archaeological Survey of India to investigate 22 closed doors of the Taj Mahal, claiming they are Hindu deities in these rooms. There are two views to these recent developments. One that stands by rectification of historical injustices. The other, which says, why rake up history, which by nature is about versions and interpretations. The question, however, is, how far will we go? Bureau Report, India Today.
Former Punjab Congress chief met with Punjab Chief Minister Navjot Sidhu on Monday evening, heaping praises for Mann. Sidhu said that he was down-to-earth and receptive leader. More details in the next report.
Poles apart in politics.
भाजपा की रंधावा से नहीं बनती, रंधावा की बिट्टू से नहीं बनती, बिट्टू की सिद्धू से नहीं बनती, सिद्धू की किसी से भी नहीं बनती।
डिफेक्टो मुख्यमंत्री है वो, ਇਹਦਾ ਨਾਂ ਰੱਖਤਾ ਐਲਾਨਵੰਤ ਸਿੰਘ।
Won't really see eye to eye with each other. But when an embattled Navjot Sidhu met Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann, his praise of a political opponent raised eyebrows.
ਮੈਨੂੰ ਅੱਜ ਇਹ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਹੋਇਆ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਚੀਫ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਿਆ। ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਕੋਈ ਹਉਮਾ ਨਹੀਂ, ਕੋਈ ਹੰਕਾਰ ਨਹੀਂ। ਜਿਵੇਂ 10-15 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸੀ, ਜਿਵੇਂ 6 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸੀ, ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਉਵੇਂ ਹੀ। ਕਰ ਭਾਈ ਪੀਪੀਏ ਰੱਦ। ਕਿਵੇਂ ਰੱਦ ਹੋਣਗੇ? ਸਮਾਰਟ ਪੀਪੀਏ ਸਾਈਨ ਕਰੋ, ਟੈਰਿਫ ਆਰਡਰ ਕਰੋ ਪਬਲਿਕ ਇੰਟਰਸਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਔਰ ਕਹੋ ਕਿ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬਿਜਲੀ 2 ਰੁਪਏ ਦੀ ਮਾਰਕੀਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 17 ਦੀ ਕਿਉਂ ਮਿਲੇ? ਦਿਓ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਿਵ, ਠੋਕ ਕੇ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਿਵ ਦਿਓ। ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬੋਰਡ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਮੈਂਡੇਟਰੀ ਹੈ ਪਬਲਿਕ ਇੰਟਰਸਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਛਡਾਓ ਜ਼ਮੀਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਲਓ ਨਾਮ, ਭਾਵੇਂ ਕੋਈ ਮੁੱਖ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਹੋਵੇ ਤੇ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਠੋਕੋ ਅੰਦਰ। ਨਾਲੇ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀਆਂ ਸੀਜ਼ ਕਰੋ। ਹਿੰਮਤ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਹੋਈ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੀਆਂ ਜ਼ਮੀਨਾਂ ਦੱਬਣ ਦੀ? ਜਿੰਨੀਆਂ ਜ਼ਮੀਨਾਂ ਛੜਾਈਆਂ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਰੀਫ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ, ਡਟ ਕੇ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ। ਇੱਕ ਨਵੀਂ ਸੋਚ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ, ਇੱਕ ਨਵਾਂ ਮੈਂਡੇਟ, ਉਹਦੀ ਮੈਂ ਰਿਸਪੈਕਟ ਕਰਦਾ।
The Congress leader insisted his meeting with the Chief Minister centered around reviving Punjab's economy and tackling business mafias. But the timing was curious.
Navjot Sidhu's endless attacks on the Congress government before the elections and his cold shouldering of his successor in Punjab, Congress has left him alienated within the party. The Congress High Command is likely to take action against the former PCC chief, now widely blamed for party's shameful defeat in 2022 assembly elections.
The ruling Aam Aadmi Party was, however, blunt in its reception. The state's transport minister called Sidhu a defeated and rejected person who the chief minister obliged with a meeting.
ਸਿੱਧੂ ਨਾ ਤੇ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਨੇ, ਨਾ ਐਮਐਲਏ ਤੇ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਉਹ ਸੰਸਦ ਨੇ। ਇੱਕ ਆਮ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਨੇ, ਹਾਰੇ ਹੋਏ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਕਾਰੇ ਹੋਏ ਇੱਕ ਆਮ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਤੇ ਕਿੱਡਾ ਵਧੀਆ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ। ਵਾਕਈ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਾਣ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਆਮ ਆਦਮੀ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਆਮ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਆ। ਇੱਕ ਹਾਰੇ ਹੋਏ ਨਕਾਰੇ ਹੋਏ ਇੱਕ ਆਮ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਾਨਯੋਗ ਮੁੱਖ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਸਰਦਾਰ ਭਗਵੰਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਮਾਨ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਦਿੱਤਾ।
On its part, the Congress leadership is fully seized of the frustration within over Sidhu. A complaint against him was shot off formally late last month to Congress chief Sonia Gandhi. Sidhu's meeting with the Chief Minister at a time when the opposition is cornering the Aam Aadmi Party over a range of issues has annoyed the Congress further.
If we still keep on running in different directions, if we still start pursuing our own individual agendas, somehow the party starts suffering. Even if he wants to meet the CM, no issue about it. But he must take the CLP and the PCC president into confidence. And the agenda cannot be his own. It has to be the party's agenda.
His posturing notwithstanding, Sidhu's trademark tantrums appear to be catching up with him, at least for now. With Manjeet Sehgal, Bureau Report, India Today.
The Sri Lankan crisis deepened on Monday, pushing the country on the brink of a civil war. Homes of several sitting and former ministers, members of parliament and mayors have been set on fire by protesters. The house of Sri Lanka's Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, who put in his papers yesterday, was also set on fire. The government has imposed a nationwide curfew. One ruling party MP was killed during the protest. Now the pressure is on President Gotabaya to resign after the resignation of his brother. Sri Lanka has been propelled into a crisis over the decades of economic mismanagement, which only worsened under the control of Rajapaksas. Now Sri Lanka has over $4 billion of foreign debt, with its foreign reserves completely depleted. The Indian men's badminton team are through to the knockouts in Thomas Cup. The men's team notched up its second successive victory, thrashing Canada 5-0 in their second group tie. India had already defeated Germany 5-0, and a win against Canada had ensured them of a top 2 finish in Group C. They will now play Chinese Taipei in their final group match on Wednesday. The men's team is looking for their maiden medal at the tournament. Last year, India bowed out at the quarterfinal stage. Meanwhile, Indian women's team also began its Uber Cup campaign with a 4-1 victory against Canada. The women shuttlers will now face USA on Tuesday. It's a wrap from me, Chaiti Narula, on this bulletin. For further news and updates, don't forget to log on to indiatoday.in or go ahead and download our app.